On this simple summer's day, the readings remind me of the comment that we often hear, God works in strange ways. When it comes to God's will, it's not easy to understand or to get our heads around some of the results that happen to us, especially if we are expecting or wanting a different outcome, and something totally different then takes place. This realization of God's presence usually comes in retrospect, when we look back on the time and just didn't see it, but now realize that it really was the best outcome. In other words, surprise, God knew what God was doing, but doing it in a strange way. Today, through the readings, God is inviting us to review some of those unique moments and acknowledge that God's will was there. Even when we didn't know it or see it, we just didn't get it. Consider how the Hebrews ended up in Egypt. Years earlier, the jealous brothers of Joseph, intent on killing him, instead were persuaded to sell him as a slave to a caravan heading into Egypt. They figured that it was the end of him and the favoritism by his father. Yet by God working in strange ways, Joseph rises from slavery to the heights of power and authority in Egypt. Then the world famine happens, and who comes begging to Joseph for help but his brothers? Interestingly, they don't recognize Joseph, but he knows them. He decides to have his father and family come to Egypt and orders one brother to remain as a hostage to guarantee the other brothers returning home to fulfill his wishes. We'll get the faithful end of that story tomorrow, but the lesson is clear. God does work in strange ways. Out of the horrific decision first to kill Joseph and then to sell their brother, that brother will not only relieve their hunger from that famine but also bring his family into Egypt, moving the Hebrews to continue their history and prepare for their future. Slavery, Moses, Passover, deliverance, the promised land. Speaking of God working in strange ways, consider the decisions Jesus made in choosing his disciples. No one seemed special, but they were all special. They were working men, despised men, fishermen, ordinary men, and yet called by Jesus to be his apostles, to learn from him, to grow with him, and ultimately to build up the church through his Holy Spirit. So today, well, it's a good day to consider these experiences in our own life, and when we maybe didn't realize then what we realize now, that in our simple, ordinary lives, God worked in strange ways. That's how special, blessed, and fortunate we are. So have a great summer's day, knowing that God's strange ways make praying the responsorial psalm today so very easy. Lord, let your mercy be upon us as we place our trust in you.